I don't know. He thinks I'm psychic.
If I said all right.
All right. Will you guys introduce yourself?
Go for it. You go first.
My name is Jared Warren, also known as Mad Dog Warren.
I'm Benjamin Brody. And my real name, my shoot name is Ben Ozier. But yeah, and people know me as Brody. And oh God, microphone. Grab that phone.
How did that happen?
I'm just strapping my
goodness gracious.
All fidgety. And we co-own Super Shogun Wrestling.
Which is a promotion where?
Oh, West Branch, Michigan, baby. Right here.
So
part of the mini mall.
So I want you to push yourself a little, and then I'm going to take over, and then we're just going to talk. Push.
We're pretty humble.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be humble. Okay, so I'm just done with them now. You shouldn't be humble. Like I said out there, like when I first came, I was like, all right, this little podunk, like and then I was wowed. But I wasn't just wowed for like, we're up here in the Michigan, wherever we're at. It was, wow, this is still like the best promotion that I go to, period. And I love chaos. I love chaos. But the marketing, the graphics, the matches, the experience, the merchandise, the what's it called? Retail.
The marketability.
Yes, where you talk to people and you're nice to them. My speech therapist said I'm supposed to try and work through to try and find words.
Yeah, the socializing.
Yes, the socializing. Thank you. Like the people here are nice.
You gotta be
It is
sociable.
a welcoming. The wrestlers come out. They all are. They talk to people. They sign things. They have merch for sale. Like it is a really, really stellar place to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's very humbling. That's awesome. Thank you for saying that. We looked at like how WWE sets their stuff up, and we're like, okay, well, let's bring it more in because we don't have the room like that, and let's do that. Let's get all these guys on T-shirts. Let's get their names out there. Let's get these boys going. Let's get everybody in line and route. Let's skyrocket them to the fucking moon.
And that's what you do. You put them individually on T-shirts. You don't just have like a poster of like every goddamn buddy and their brother every single time.
No.
It's like individual people.
So, I mean, I guess we can start from the beginning. I mean,
please do.
We both, I got into pro wrestling, it was 8 years ago now. Well, for me, it was like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And met him at a promotion. Didn't quite know how to take him until I seen him in the ring, and then I was like, okay, that's the best wrestler I've seen in person in the ring. And I'm like, okay, I got to get to know this guy. And worked a couple shows together, and then we were on a traveling show somewhere, and he was riding by himself. I'm like, well, screw that. I'm going to jump in the car with him.
Yeah, he started riding with me. I was like, all right.
And after that, it was like,
nobody would ride with me. Yeah. But I would always live like about an hour away from everything, really. I didn't try to travel too far because my vehicle was pretty shitty at the time.
And yeah, and he just lives 20 minutes away from me. And then, so we started riding all together in all the shows. And then when we go to other promotions and we've seen other things, and eventually we were just like, okay, if we were to run a promotion, how would we
do it differently?
Run it? Like, what would we do the different? What's the things we don't like? What's the things we always wanted to change? What's the things, we do and don't like? And he's a note taker. I verbally spew out stuff. I'm an idea man.
Okay.
But once we have the idea set, then I push and I do it. And it's like, get it done. And he writes things in notebooks. He's got so many notebooks of just things.
Oh my God, it's unreal. I already got one full. I've got a black leather bound one that's just for the big stuff, the main stuff. That's about that thick now. And then I got another one full of just merch. So it's like.
And then, so we wrote down all our ideas, like what we wanted the company to basically, like the standard of it.
Yes.
One of the rules, or one of the things we wanted was we wanted a permanent location. We didn't want the boys to have to set up. Because we wanted them to concentrate on the wrestling. We wanted to make sure there was food in the back for them to eat, not just, bare bones basic stuff. We were like, we have home cooked food, all that stuff for the boys. Make sure everybody gets paid at the end.
Hot dog and a handshake, baby.
Yeah, no hot dog.
Many of them.
And it shows. It shows.
I've gotten like popcorn. You guys, if there's popcorn left, you can grab a bag. And I'm like, shit.
Wow,
man, okay.
that's awful.
I guess we're riding back. Tommy boy.
God.
And that was one of the things, and it was kind of crazy because we didn't know we were going to do a Japanese promotion. We didn't have a name.
No.
We just had our foundation set.
Yep.
Okay.
And one day we were sitting there, and we're in his smoking den, and
There,
my
smoke shack.
little brother was there. He's not little, but he's
No, Jason.
grown ass man. He's actually like my
Grown-ass
camera
boy.
operator.
Yeah.
Is my brother.
Jason.
So he was there, and me and him were just coming up with all these ideas. But we always have Japanese wrestling in the background.
I have all Japan.
All of Japan is always playing in the background.
From like late 80s all the way up until when it closed. And I always have that playing in the background. Always had it playing in the background.
And it was a deal where like me and him were talking, and I asked my brother Jason the question. I was like, Jason, like, what do you think of this? And then he's just like glued to the TV. And I was like, hey. And he goes, what? He goes, this is really good. I'm like, yeah. He goes, I have no idea what they're saying, but this match is really. I'm like, no. He says, why is this so good? I'm like, it's Japanese style wrestling.
Tell the story.
And he's just like, this is awesome. And he's just watching it, and then I look over at Brody. I'm like, that's it, man. We gotta look at how the Japanese run a promotion, and let's do a Japanese promotion in America. So we'll be one of the first ones to do it here, and I says that will set us apart from everybody else because we had horror themed ideas for a wrestling show. We did all these other ideas.
We weren't at first. We were going to go out as a tag team.
Oh yeah.
And I was powerlifting, and I was trying to gain weight. I had this big diet.
We had the idea of everything before
that,
and we just had it in the back of our head.
And it never came into fruition or play. And we always would talk about it. Well, then I got hurt really bad. My back, the disc sheared off.
Jesus.
Yep.
And after that, the doctor was like, dude, you're, either you get cages or you don't. That's where you're at right now. So I'm like, okay, so I probably shouldn't wrestle anymore. So then West Branch, because you knew the Grange from the paper.
So the deal was I haven't seen him in a bit. And
because I was wheelchair bound.
He was wheelchair bound
for 5 months, yeah.
And I came in and visited him, and I remember seeing him because I haven't seen him in a long time. We talk all the time. We talk every week.
I look so horrible. I look like a pile of goo.
And I looked at him, and I was just like, that was probably one of the biggest blows of my life.
Yeah.
It was like, seeing it was like, this guy did some of the most amazing things in the ring. Now he's in a wheelchair. I'm just like, this is messed up. This is really messing me up.
Wow.
And I was just like, he's like, dude, do I look that bad? And I'm like, no, you look great, bud. Jesus.
Wow. Oh,
Brody's head wasn't right. And then,
that was a bad place too.
I was no longer in wrestling at the time because I was like, well, I'm done too then.
Well,
because I was like, we were going to do a tag team and we're just going to run a circuit.
Yeah.
And then ended up being a deal where I worked for a newspaper.
Which was fucking awesome.
I'm a photographer for a newspaper. And he came up to me, my boss at the time, and he's like, hey, Jared, do you know anything about pro wrestling? And I was just like, no. yeah, I know quite a bit about pro wrestling. He goes, well, West Branch is, I think it'd be kind of cool if we could do a pro wrestling show. And I was just like, yeah, that would be really cool. He goes, do you know anybody that's got a promotion or can do something? I'm like,
and we had just bought a ring.
We just bought a ring.
Because we were like, we'll slowly get this going. It'll be a year or two. We just got a ring.
And then so like, I'm just like, we had a name and we had a ring.
That's what he said, yeah. He's like, we got a name and a ring. He's like, we have a promotion. And then I get this call and it's like,
I said,
Brody,
like, get your ass out of the wheelchair. We're doing this. We're going to do a show. We're going to do it in September. And
he's like, start booking it. And I'm like, fuck. So instantly we get a hold of our buddy.
Well, hold on. Well, you were like, because he had a bad headspace.
Oh God, it was so fucking bad.
And then all of a sudden, he's out of the chair. He's moving around. He's doing stuff.
losing weight,
getting ready for this, and that was. It's one of those things when we finally got the show off the ground, like when the show was running and it was out of our hands, like it was just going. That I can't believe we pulled off what we pulled off.
Oh my God, dude. And everything at that show, everything went fucking wrong. It was the independent wrestling curse, you know. Oh my fucking God, true.
The crowd didn't care. The crowd was packed.
Just so excited.
It was an outside show.
Yeah.
Permits to block off the street.
Yeah.
We had
semi-truck trailer out there.
Semi-truck trailer for the announcement thing.
The spotlight.
Yep, spotlight. The ring was out there. And the crowd was super hot, super crazy loud, to where the whole town could hear the pops. Like everybody's like, "What the hell's going on?" Like, wow, like what is this? You know, crazy good. I mean, the show was really good. One day at like
500 there.
Yeah, there was a lot of people there. I got to tackle JJ off the roof of that semi truck.
Through some boxes.
Down to the street.
Wow.
On the pavement.
It's insane.
Yep, that was.
Another one is we took a
That's
chair. And
so high.
he jumped off the top rope and caved it over Chuck's head, and it flew right off.
The bottom flew right off. Exploded.
Oh my God.
And Chuck was just like, he fell back down, got back up, and I could see the look on his face, and I was like, fuck that. I'm like, I looked at Jared and goes, it's all you, dude. I ain't helping you no more on this.
A kendo stick exploded over my back.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually had splinters of the bamboo in my back the next day. So that was a fun show.
Sounds.
It was a blast.
Incredible show.
And then we took a hiatus because they're like, okay, let's figure this out now. What are we gonna do? So we needed a building. We
originally had that building at the far end.
At the far end here,
small.
Oh.
And
there were some complications with that, and then we ended up getting this was available.
Yes.
And we're like, okay, this is it.
This is better.
I think this is
way better.
Perfect.
Because we would have had to take the ceiling out of that one and not even be able to do shows in it. We'd just be able to train.
Yeah.
Oh, that's poop.
Yeah.
So we got this, and we're like, all right, we can set this up. Well, if we're gonna do this, let's do this right. And one thing about me and Brody working together, we have never had an argument.
No, we don't argue really good. And we're anal about certain things.
Yeah.
I'm anal about the wrestling. He's anal about the media.
The production
I'm
value
anal about the guys in the back. He's anal about how everything is displayed, how this is going to be, what's the camera angle going to be like, how are the lights going to come in. And those things are people that they don't think about. No one thinks about those things.
Yes.
But those are the important things, and those are the things I notice. Those things.
Our goal is when you come into Super Shogun Wrestling, you feel just the environment alone is worth the ticket price. That's what I want.
Yeah,
that's what I want to create.
You want to have
when
that
you see
feeling
the first match come out, because that's all Brody in his booking. He studies people. How can we pair this? How can we do this? How can we psychologically do this? And then that's how we make sure our cards, like every match, is like, wow, that was a really good match.
It's a build. You always got to build, and you can put a main event guy in a build match, and they still can have match. I mean, look at Tommy Trainwreck and Rick Cartier that day.
That match was great.
That match was great. Match of the night. It was second or third match on the card.
And
match of the night.
And that's one of the things
telling a story. And they hardly bumped. It was just telling a story and how to tell it and how to pace yourself, how to get the crowd emotionally involved.
And then when it comes down to the matches, we wanted the feel of Super Shogun Wrestling to feel like at any moment, any one of these guys could be a champion. Could be champion. Like, we don't want, oh, that's just a mid-carder guy. Oh, that's just this. It's like, no, everybody's at the same level. There's just somebody who just happened to be a little bit higher at the time. And that guy can get knocked out just as fast.
And it happens.
It happens
and it really does always feel like that. And I like that.
It's like, we don't want shows ever to be predictable. So
you want to unpredict it.
Me and him will sit down and we'll just start talking wrestling. And we'll start coming out with storylines. Yeah. And we try doing things that nobody else is doing. Everything's been done, but we try not to make things where it's like, okay, that's been done to death. Like, this has been done. It's like, what, we're not going to do
or
this.
Convolute or complicate them to the storylines. Because that's another thing. People, they tend to try to pour too much into it. And it's like, no, if you keep it kind of basic, the people like that.
Simple's better.
Yes.
Like, simple's better.
That's why soap operas are still on.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what we were talking about.
Like, if you miss a month or two,
show.
like, if I miss a month or two, if I can't catch up, like, I'm okay, cool. I'm not invested anymore.
Right. Here, like, everything comes back. It's like we have storylines that have been like going on for almost a year now.
Mhm.
That's just building up. But it's like if you leave for a little bit and you come back, it's like it's not hard to pick up on what happened.
No.
You know, and that's the thing. It's like, yeah, we have YouTube, you know, episodes and things like
Oh, that was an awful mess.
and like thank you, Maddie.
Love you, Maddie.
You could have walked right on in like so many others.
But yeah, like we don't want people to just sort of view like on the YouTube channel and stuff like that. We want people like strangers don't feel like they have to catch up. They can just come here and still enjoy it.
Yeah, and still
they get
have a
hooked
good show.
immediately.
And you can, because that's exactly what happened with me.
Awesome sauce.
Like- I didn't really know-
What's helpful is we're aware of so much of the talent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because
And,
Like, okay, this is a great mixture. It's not the same people wrestling.
oh my god,
and that was the
No.
thing we wanted as well is like a lot of our roster and stuff like that
Come
really
from out of state.
come out of state.
Northern Indiana.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Quite
So
familiar with that.
we
Mhm.
try reaching out and getting guys that aren't necessarily known around Michigan. And to us, that's a benefit to us because
Oh, yeah.
that makes us stand out. We have different guys on our posters and we have different guys, you know, like in the roster for people to come see, you know, so it gives people reason to like travel, like, oh, I got to
For
go
sure.
see this guy.
Yeah.
and you're getting other people too. You've had people from like Glawa.
Oh yeah, dude. We've had people
And-
from New York.
Mhm.
What was it? North Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Shit. And now we've talked to people from other countries. I've had
Really?
a couple guys get a hold of me from Britain,
Ooh, that's exciting.
and they were up for a little bit, but it's like the dates didn't match, and we're like, well, let's just keep each other notified.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, definitely, we'll keep in touch. You know what I mean? And it's like,
that would be cool.
and I try. And that's another thing that people don't do as a promoter. I think is all the talent that I like send me stuff. I still keep in touch with all those
Yeah.
guys. I still let them know, hey, these are our dates. This is what we got. We're working towards. This is when we're having our WrestleMania. So after this is when a lot of new storylines are going to develop. So a lot of new talent's going to come in. So make sure you're kind of open around these dates, and I'll start bringing you in. And we'll start introducing you.
All right, so Mr. Promoter Man, if I was a wrestler,
Man.
which I'm not and never will be, and I wanted to be on or in this wonderful promotion, which unless I'm some kind of blithering moron, I would want to be. How would I go about doing that?
We had talked about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
When,
I know, that's why I'm bringing it up.
we believe in proper etiquette.
Big time.
Like a good
The
thing.
shit I get sometimes,
not to knock any wrestlers, but
And I'm not
sometimes
knocking
they're not taught this. It's like
and you're
When-
not taught. Yeah.
when you want to get booked somewhere, like please don't just show up
Yeah.
and expect to get on the card. It's like it's fine. You're here. You're willing to help. And I
That's
utilize
not how you really get
talent
booked.
when I do utilize talent when they come in, but not in the way they want. You
Yep.
know, sometimes like, hey, I need help with this. I need help with this. And it's like, sorry, like our match card is full. One thing though, that a piece of advice is like when you reach out to promoters, be polite. Give as much information about yourself as you can, especially who you were trained by. You know, if you give us a match, like a video,
Not a highlight
don't make
reel.
a highlight reel because we want to see you do a match, work a match,
I want to see how you work.
I want to see if there's a botch in there.
Yes.
Even better because then we can see how you
How you
recover.
work through that box.
Recovering is
And that's the thing.
important.
And a lot of them don't understand. It's like when I first broke in, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all these media outlets. All I had was Hotmail email
and VHS tapes.
and
Send out.
super VHS
Beautiful.
and 8x10s.
Wow.
And it sucked so much
It
ass.
sounds like it sucked so much
Because yeah,
ass.
because you're literally sending a package out to somebody whether they're going to open and look at
Wow,
it.
and that was expensive
No,
too.
we-
Well,
Wow.
one time I sent a VHS and the guy didn't want the VHS. He wanted a super VHS instead. So it was
Oh
like,
my!
fuck me. Okay, sorry. I got us confused.
But we live in a time now where we're all spoiled.
Oh
We have
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
nothing
yeah.
of it, you know, like I'm not knocking any wrestler who, if he happens to see this, I'm not going to mention his name, but he sent us a promo pic and he said, "Diss me,
Just me.
this is me," and we're just like,
No, I am sorry. That is not okay. No, thank you.
We
We do
know
know him.
Thank
he is
you.
popular.
Yep.
But the thing is
I-
like that the
mm-mm.
level of like there was no respect.
No
It was just
professionalism
like,
there.
Here,
There was no
I'm wondering if you got
professionalism.
bookings, book me.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
It's like no, it's like because you
You need to be
the first thing you
professional
need to
about
say
it.
is, hello, my name is so and so.
Could you give me just 1 minute? If this you, no thank you. Okay? No thank you. What the actual, okay?
Yeah.
We
Oh,
will
my
look at each
God.
other, we just kind of shook our
Woo!
heads out, and then
Because I was like,
Wow.
what the fuck? I was
Wow.
scared. Look at this. And he goes,
Oh.
what the fuck?
Oh.
we both worked with it.
I worked with him, yeah.
But he was just like he was very like
I
it
can't.
wasn't professional, and
No.
we're just like
That's not okay. This is a job, though. You
Yeah.
pay.
Yes.
You do pay the rest
Oh my
of it,
God,
right?
we pay very good.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you do. I'm
we pay.
I'm being a
you take care
Yeah.
of
twat,
the
okay?
wrestlers. Our like what we had wrote back when we was first saying we
Yeah,
wrote our
we take
Yeah.
care of those
If you
boys.
take care of the boys, they will take care of the business because they will want to be here and they'll give it
Give
their
it
all
all.
in the ring.
Give match
So-
of the night bonus.
Yeah,
too.
we give out a match of
So,
the night bonus, and that's a big thing.
Yeah.
That's a big push because then there's competitiveness, and when you do that, then all the boys are all
Mhm.
huddled around in the gorilla position, watching the monitor, and they're all like, okay,
Who's
they're
gonna
doing
get
this.
match
We
of
can't
the
do
night?
this. We can't do this now. We got to switch this up because they're doing this. So everybody's watching what's happening on the screen, and they're trying to outdo each other in the best way
Yes.
possible.
And I see, and they really do. They work on it because we're here early, and
or
I
they'll see a match with a bunch of moves, and they'll be like, okay, we're not doing those in our match.
Yep.
We're not doing those.
and
in
they
our match.
switch it up from what they practice. I've
Every match
noticed
is
that, and I'm like,
different.
oh, they didn't do that in
Mhm.
practice. That's
the beauty
exciting.
about them. But like back to the application thing. So the way I would do it is I would say, hey, this is my name. This is who I was trained by. This is how many years I've been in the business. Give me 1 or 2 seminars. It doesn't need to be big. Just 1 or
Okay.
2 seminars it shows that you're actually trying, learn more, etc. And then give me 3 matches.
Okay, fair enough.
You can
That's
give
simple.
me you can give me a list of places you work, but there's so many places anymore. Just give me 3 or 4 matches. That's all you got to do. And
There's
your
YouTube
name,
links.
all that stuff. Yeah, links. Send me
Okay.
the links on YouTube. I've watched a lot of them. I will say, the faraway camera view. Oh my God, that's everywhere. That's on a lot of them, and I'm like, oh, that
But
gets
that comes
old.
down to literally like going back to our production. Like I'm trying to make Super Shogun Wrestling look like a professional show
Yes.
on with our episodes because my ultimate goal is to be able to be picked up by some kind of streaming service
Yes,
and
we
be
would
able
love
to
that.
this is our product, this is what we can do,
We
this is what we
love
can
it.
produce, and then it's seamless. So right now I'm just chiseling away, picking apart, getting how I want it to look, and have a feel to it, and that way that'll happen. Not knocking any other promotions that do this, but the hard cam footage is tough.
It gets after a while too. Watching, it's like, oh, okay,
You gotta
okay,
check out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now some of them have just 2 cameras. Now I'm perfect with that. That's cool. You'll give me the close-up shots I want, the facials, because I got to make sure I see the guy's face all the time, face up, and it lets me go ahead and really see how they're running, how their feet work is, how are their headlocks, how are their headlock takeovers. It boils all the way down to that when I watch a guy online, because it's like I don't want to pick a guy up who's not safe.
Mhm.
Have him come work the boys. That ain't fair to them.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people send you stuff, right? But do you ever just go and watch wrestlers and go try and find wrestlers? How would you even do that?
Usually, I'm so busy with them sending me stuff.
Okay.
Usually we don't have to go seek out talent. Usually
I
talent
didn't
comes
think
out.
so, but I
No,
just wanted to. It just occurred to me to
We have
ask.
had
It's
situations
crazy.
happen where we gave a guy a chance and all of a sudden he blew us out of the water because
Yeah.
we didn't expect much, and we're like, oh wow, this guy's great,
We've had that happen quite a few times. Yeah.
Because one guy, he'll be on the card today, Jason DeMilo. He's one guy that got a hold of me, and
Yep.
he's just like,
Oh.
hey,
Yep.
I'm a local guy. Can I come help out? Just
Okay.
be there. He didn't think he was gonna be on the card or nothing like that. He showed up, he helped out, and then we had a couple wrestlers cancel on us.
Yep.
And we're like, dude, can we see you bump? How many matches have you worked? He goes, oh, I worked a few matches, watched him bump, and he
He
watched
was
him
good.
lock up, and we're like, okay, you got a match.
Yeah, he was good.
Oh.
They have a match.
And then as soon as we got back to where we're doing, like, fast forward, quite a few months.
Oh, yeah.
When we
Year
had our
almost,
first,
yeah.
a year coming up. We had our first show here, and
Yeah,
immediately we're just like, okay, you want to be on the card? Because it was kind of tough. We're just starting off, and we want to have some, it's hard getting talent to like show up because it was like, they're
dude.
Like how you said,
Sometimes.
up north, some podunk town.
Yes,
West Branch,
I mean, I
there's
don't
no way
mean
they
to
can
be
do
so
something like this.
People
derisive,
think
but
They
It's
really
going to be
do,
some
yeah.
yarder
Like,
fed,
Yeah.
company,
Yeah.
which it's.
I
that's
expected
fine.
not good.
Yeah, that's what people think. It's like just because there's things in the city doesn't mean people in the out in the country like us, like farm fed.
No, like there's some garbage in GR too, like
Oh, God.
yeah.
Probably.
and
I wouldn't
Detroit.
doubt
Like,
it.
don't get me wrong,
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
And
it was the
going back
strip
to the
mall to
production
me.
part of it, like getting our own permanent building. I didn't want to wrestle in a gymnasium.
No, we
I didn't want to have to
gym.
like figure out a way of hiding the basketball hoop.
All right,
Like,
I
it's
mean, fair
hard.
enough. I
It's
can
hard.
imagine it is.
It was one of those
We don't
things.
have drapes that big. Then you're cutting off parts of the arena, and it's like, okay, then you got to, and it's like, okay, well, what else can we do? Can we do a storage unit maybe? Well, then shit, it's not that big.
Yeah.
Storage units aren't that big. Well, fuck. Okay, now what do we got to do? And when we got all this, holy shit.
Yeah. And then one of
Hallelujah.
the things we were doing too when we were building everything, we're building the stage and the entrance. We're just like, okay, we're not coming through no curtain.
No, that's the one thing we said.
So that's why we built doors. And
Doors.
I love
we're
that.
one of the only
I
companies that
love
have
it.
doors. And
I
it's just
couldn't
like,
do it.
and everybody's like, wait a minute, we don't have to go through a curtain. I'm like, well, you do when you go into the entrance to the section, but when you come out to the crowd, it is a door.
Doors.
And then
Double
we're
doors.
like, let's make it so it's backlit so we get to see the
Yes.
guy's silhouette come up.
And it's so
It's
dope.
more dramatic than
Yes.
just ripping
Oh,
open.
I was
silhouette of Bojack.
I was
yeah.
just gonna say, especially with Bojack.
Chuckles the Clown
Yeah.
blocks the whole
whole thing.
sunlight coming in.
I squeed like a little fangirl when it's Bojack.
He's awesome.
But yeah, that was this whole thing is production, the wrestling talent that we have, our locker room etiquette. Everybody here gets
Yeah.
along. There is no drama back
And
here.
if there's ever anything, we
We
squash
squash
it
right
quick.
there.
We all talk it over. We all resolve it like you're supposed to, like grown-ass adults.
So you communicate with each
Pro-
other?
Oh, God, yes.
So
I
for
talk
the-
to wrestlers throughout.
So it's
I don't know how many
talking
times.
to each other, not like at each other.
And
No, talking
the
to
biggest
them.
thing is I don't want to ever happen is when we have our production meetings, we will never yell at people. in front of people.
No, that's
Like,
ridiculous.
We
Pull
don't
into the
tell them
office.
because then you're killing the whole mood
of
of the entire
everybody.
show.
You
Because
can't do that.
they're all excited to be here, and then all of a sudden they're getting ripped a new one before they even have the show, and it immediately kills the mood.
Affect their match later on.
Yeah.
So if we have any issues, we wait till after the show and be like,
Usually
hey,
address it
and
after
we'll
the
address
show.
it, or we'll take them aside privately, like, hey, what's going on with this?
Mhm.
Like we don't take sides or do anything.
No.
It's like, okay, this needs to be resolved, but now right now let's get our head in the match.
Yep, let's get the show on the road, and then after we'll play chess.
All right, that's
Yep.
fair enough.
Nope.
Communication is important, I feel like.
Oh God, dude, it's the biggest key, I think.
Yeah. Everybody being on the same page. There are certain things I turn my brain off that he does, and there's things that I I don't even.
Like
I don't-
what?
Well, like certain
I'll get really
storylines,
picky.
stuff like that. He
I
gets really
get
picky and he
picky.
changes things out. Like when it comes to me, when I create like the graphics and the design for
Which
the show.
I have to say
I'm picky too.
are so beautifully done. My
Thank you.
God, man.
I've
Jesus.
I've been an artist since I was a little kid. I've always drawn comic books and things like that. And I remember when I got a computer and had Microsoft Paint for the first time, and figured out, I can digitally manipulate images and things like that.
Mario Paint.
Yeah, Mario.
Yeah, Mario Paint.
Paint was awesome.
So it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, and then eventually I just started making graphics and stuff like that, and then I did it for other companies too, and just kind of paid attention to like, okay, why do movies posters look this way? Why is things, what draws your eye, things like that.
Mhm.
So when I create the posters for Super Shogun Wrestling, I have that in mind. Like I do research, like I just look through what catches my eye,
Mhm.
and then I'm like, I bet you I can make a wrestling poster have that same look to it. with like our flair, like Japanese flair to it. So, and then I think, okay, what colors pop? What's going to make somebody? Because you got to think when somebody's on Facebook, they're literally just
when they're doom scrolling.
Catch their
what
eye,
can I
get them to
do
stop from
to
doing
make them
that.
stop for 2 seconds just to look at? They don't have. Most people don't like the stuff, but
No.
I guarantee 1,000 people see it,
Yeah.
and that's all I care. It's like you're
Same
literally
here.
seeing it. It's the same as a billboard. You can't click like on a billboard when you drive by it,
That's
but you can
true.
remember it.
Yeah.
And then you have literally 3 seconds to take that information as you drive by.
And I never
that's
don't
the-
remember your guys' name. Your promotion name. I know that was very convoluted, but I do. I always remember Super Shogun.
Hell yeah.
I remember how to spell it.
That's
I remember where you're located.
Hell
we,
yeah.
we get
That's
you're
a lot,
Super
bro.
Shotgun Wrestling.
I
I've
love
had
that.
Shotgun before.
But like you're like an artist, like visually. He's an
a
people artist with
people.
Wrestling.
with the wrestlers. You're a match artist.
He's a match artist for sure. Because like me and him
My
will sit
God.
there, he'll have his notepad and we'll be like, okay, let's write some storylines. Let's come up with this. Let's
And
do
they'll just
this.
be like, okay, well, I don't know about that yet.
And
I'll
then
get
I'll-
the other book out, and I'll be like, well, these guys wrestled before, right?
Yeah.
So no. So we'll do this, but this will lead to this, and well, that sounds good. And then
And then he'll do something where like he'll give me something and I'll be like, you know what? This is. I'm like, what do I always say all the time? I'm like, all right, hear me out.
yeah,
If I say that,
hear me
out.
hear me out. That means I'm about ready to say something completely different.
fucking
so
off
crazy
the wall
off the wall.
sometimes.
And we're gonna do something crazy off the wall, but it has a meaning to it.
Yes,
And-
or he'll give it to me, and I'll spin it.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
We'll
okay,
do
what
it.
if we do this to that then?
And then usually like when I tell him something and it's something that totally blows his mind, he does this. Oh Jesus!
I'm like,
You know.
all right,
Okay.
we'll do that.
I
like
have
that.
to ask. The matches that I didn't think I'd ever need. SOS and
Grim, or not Grim, Ben.
The Den.
the Den. Oh God.
Those
What?
guys.
I could watch them for the rest of my life.
They're coming back.
If I was trapped in a weird time loop, that'd be
That'd be
fine.
They're
Yeah.
coming back for
And
sure.
that's
They're
the big
coming back.
thing here in Super Shogun Wrestling too is.
But I never thought that'd be
we
good.
Oh my
we
God.
don't dictate
I knew it
the
right off the rip
matches.
when I saw it.
Yeah, like we don't tell them, hey, you guys got to do this, you got to
No.
do this. Like you guys got to run this by us. No, we tell them, well, hey,
But who?
you guys do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If
Pretty
you,
much.
and that's usually how it works.
But you thought of that together.
Yeah.
How?
Well, I
Like
saw
what?
We
the-
would
was like-
we would watch the wrestling.
watching wrestling and then watching
wrestling.
watching a lot of independents, and I was like, these SOS guys keep showing up and they look really good. And I'm like, me and Jared were like, Jared's like, yeah, I've been seeing them too, and I'm like,
Let's put them
they
against
would
the
be
net.
good against the Den. And then Caesar gets a hold of me. He's like, yeah, I know who they are. You should bring them in. That would be really good. And we're like,
we think we
all
can-
right, dude, let's do this. Then bring them in. Man,
The
it's
magic
like
happens.
Cross Bros.
Yeah.
It's like,
We
man,
worked with the Cross Bros in the past, and we're like,
oh yeah, dude,
and
they've
they've
been
always
here
stuck in
ever
my
since.
head, and I'm like, I like these guys. These guys have an interesting look.
They have a great
Wild,
look.
they're
I don't know how I
unpredictable.
feel about them yet.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
the
know how I
whole-
feel about
They have
them yet.
that mosh thrasher.
Yep.
I
You
don't
don't
know.
know if I'm good or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Isn't that nice?
They haven't won me over yet.
That's
They have
It's
to
because they're
work
always against
harder.
the Den.
yes.
That's what it is. That's what it is. But no, those guys
It
are great
is.
to work with. Speaking of like weird like ideas and stuff like that.
Does that mean he's a weird idea?
Spoiler, like kind of like not in the future, but like what we did, you know, how we did is, for instance, we had the crowd was always asking we were going to bring Tyler Dean in. When are
Yeah.
you guys going to bring Tyler Dean? He's my favorite wrestler. Were you guys going to bring him in? We're going to bring him in. And then I'm like, you know what, Brody, let's bring him in.
As a
But you
heel.
know what? Let's bring him as a heel. And
He's
you know,
never
bad
been a
guy.
heel before.
And,
His whole
they're
career.
like, everybody's like, that's the stupidest thing. No, that would never work.
It worked.
That'll never work. And I'm like, no, we do it this way. We have him betray Red Tiger, who is one of the most over baby faces.
Oh, God.
All the children love him. And let's have him do something to him.
They-
I bet you they'll boo him out of the building.
And they weren't.
Sure enough,
They did.
the place melted down when Tyler Dean basically dick
See?
punches
Dick punched them.
Red Tiger, and it's like you're just watching theater unfold. And
Yep.
I'm just watching back because I was in the crowd. I was like, all right, I got to make sure this works. So I kind of hid in the crowd.
I was watching the
And I'm like,
crowd
all right,
too,
now it's unfolding. I'm like, and then all of a sudden I'm looking around, and everybody's face was like,
oh, and I'm like,
my
yeah.
favorite wrestler is a bad guy.
Little bastard.
You know, it's like, how does that work? Because he's a little guy, but
That
the thing
MFer.
is, Tyler, the way he acted, he was all for it. He's just like, I've never been
he wanted to really bad.
He's a really good bad guy. He's an awful. I want to punch him right in his face, man. Like, you motherfucker.
Look when he comes out. And just
and he swaggers.
So
he's
good.
just I want to like
So instantly when he did that, I was just like,
I love him.
I like to push him a little bit more. I was like, I want to wrestle. And it's like, and then that was one of my funnest matches I had. That was really fun.
Yep. Then we had the feud with Red Tiger. That was kick-ass feud.
Yep.
And then just waiting for him to make his return.
But we're me and Brody have a lot of ideas, a lot of surprises. It's like we're always evolving, always changing. Between the way the matches work, the way even the way the show looks. Mm-hmm. I'm not even close to how I have it in my head. How I want it to look. It's not even close yet. But it'll get there. We just need to keep the numbers up the way we've been doing. We've been getting a really good fan base. We have a lot of diehard fans. This is one of the loudest crowds I've ever wrestled in front of.
Holy shit,
hot,
they got energy.
So the point is they literally give it all to the very end match.
Yeah.
So and by the end of it, they're exhausted
when they leave. That's perfect.
Usually when I do raffle tickets at places, I have to go and sell them. But here I just stand there and they come to me because they just want to buy them, and everybody loves it here, and I love it. The energy is.
That's it. The energy.
Yes.
The energy.
No. The expectation of what they're winning.
Yes.
It's been established. So it makes it easier.
And that's one of the things too. Is when it comes to our merch, we have a specific space, and I wanted that set up to look like a store.
Yeah.
Not just
totally
tables,
different, dude.
But because we have everything on mannequins, everything's presented well. You can see what it is. Everything is
glass cases.
I try to come up with new stuff as often as I can to push the business, and especially if any of the wrestlers bring their own merch, I'm like, hey, here's extra mannequins. Display
and I love that so much.
People look and they'll buy because we tell the guys dude. Bring your stuff. Sell it for you. Make more money.
Just mark it down for you.
Yeah, it's we don't take a cut on anything the wrestlers bring in. So
just bring it. We'll sell it for you. You know what I mean? If you guys want to keep your shirts here for 6 months, keep them here.
I don't care.
We'll just keep them on the shelf. People will buy them.
See,
that's what it's supposed to be.
Dope. See, and that's a business.
We're very business minded. We're trying not to be
trying to raise everybody.
It's like a local business, not a corporation.
And we're not trying to play wrestler on the weekends. We're just going to pretend to be a bigger.
No, I don't like when they do
wrestler.
We're not trying to be a bigger company in our heads than what we really are, or pretend we are.
Okay.
It's we're trying to stay as humble as we can.
And consistent
and keep pushing and not trying to step on any toes or anything like that, because we view that obviously the more promotions out there, the better it is for
the way better.
Well, that's why you schedule your shows when you do, so you don't coincide at the same time other ones, right?
In a long time that it's been 4 months since there's been this many shows on
the same days. Today is a big day for wrestling. But
it
is.
Week
after WrestleMania.
That's why.
Yeah.
But we try running on the second weekend of every month. We try to.
Yep.
Eventually, soon, possibly, where we're talking, we'll see how it goes. Is
after August?
Yeah, we'll be running maybe twice a month.
Maybe every other month at first, just to see if it catches on, and then boom.
Let's just say twice in June, not July, and then twice in August. Mm-hmm. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood correctly.
Yeah, it'd be June, run 2 shows. July, run 1. June, July, August, run 2. Just use that as an example.
If things keep going up, I mean, we don't really have end goal. We're going to push as hard as we can, get as big as we can get.
Yeah.
No glass ceiling. Yeah. We're just we don't have
you're just doing what you're doing and you're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. We're just gonna
okay.
I will not ever be satisfied until we are in a stadium full of people screaming and hollering and saying, doing the Super Shogun chant, and I'm in that crowd looking around. And then I'll be okay, I think we did pretty good. And then I might be happy and satisfied, but I doubt it, because then I'll be North Korea had this many people.
Oh,
at
that
one
is
show.
the
It
world.
was like we
Yeah,
gotta beat this, you know. But it's like, but that's just like me and Brody, you know, we're not afraid to fail.
I've done it a million times.
Failure is just experience. So to me, it's like
It's not like I'm in WWE or
this doesn't
AEW right
work.
now.
We're gonna figure out something that works. We're gonna push harder on this. Like see what works. See what sticks to the wall. You know, because eventually that's
how you make it. You make your decision, your faults and fails.
Well,
and
yeah,
just
you don't
pick
know
it
if
back
something's
up.
going to work until you
Do
try it.
Yeah, you never know.
And then you're like, oh.
Yeah, you might stumble into something really good, you know?
Most people are afraid to fail because they think that's on them as like a character. But like to me,
Circumstances a lot of
failure
times.
Sometimes it just happens.
is experience. It's like, okay, well, what'd you learn from that? Well, then guess what? If you fail every day at the same thing, guess what? You got more experience than the average person who's never even tried it.
That's very true.
And that's literally where it comes down to is don't be afraid to try anything, you know, and fail at it.
You
have
have
that
to.
expectation that it might fail. But if it does, okay, whatever. Try this and this way. Do your research. Figure this out. And that's kind of like how we apply to all this. But like, if you told me, you know, 10 years ago when I was getting into this business that I'd be running, you know, one with Brody, I would think you're crazy. Like,
If you told me that 10 years ago, I'd have been like, no, I'm not. I'll be somewhere in Japan maybe, or
you'll be running some
maybe I'll be in
somewhere.
WWE hopefully or something. You know, didn't think I'd be booking.
Yeah.
Good God! And when you're at each side of the spectrum and on each side of the fence, it's totally different.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
Is
You
it?
feel bad for whining about
Way
certain
different.
things too, don't you?
Way different. Yeah, in a way, but at the same time, I look at it like, man, I only had to worry about 15 minutes. Now I got to worry about 2 hours.
2 hours.
Now I got to worry about 2.5 hours, and it's like,
So he's
you're
back
watching
there
every match. Ah.
He's back there in gorilla, just chomping at the bit. The thing is like, you know, he won't admit this, but I'll be back there with him, and I can tell.
I'll get a twinkle in my eye.
He gets that
Twinkle.
little bit like I can tell he wants to be in that ring. He wants to be in that.
That's
ring.
why I'm training.
He wants to do that stuff, you know, and it's like I can tell he kind of like he looks at all the boys, you know, they're getting, you know, they got the nerves and stuff like that, and they're going over stuff.
Oh, I love it when I see moves like that. I'm like, I can feel it. Oh, I used to get that way.
Because he wants
Get
to
so
be out there.
shaky and get so nervous, and then you get out the curtain, and then
It's a
you're
different person.
And I don't care what people say. I've done cocaine, I've done Oxycontin before, I've done horrible fucking drugs. There isn't a high like it. There isn't any high like it when you can hit that crowd with that peak, when you can go out that curtain and everybody's chanting for you, and they're for you. You can feel their energy. You can feel it, and then they give you that energy, and it's like.
And then at the end, when you put together such a good story, in
You
the ring,
can.
and you're feeding off the energy, and then everything you worked, and all that pain and the adrenaline running through you, and that 1, 2, 3 happens, and the crowd ignites.
Oh my God!
Either
There's nothing else like it.
booing or they're
Nothing like
cheering. That is probably the greatest high on the.
You could ever get. There's nothing like it. I have kids, and I compare it to having kids. People are like, "You're fucked up, Brody." I'm like, "No, my first love was wrestling."
I enjoy watching that.
Yeah,
I
God,
enjoy
love it.
watching you guys feed off of it. I know that
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
awful,
Oh,
but I enjoy
Yeah,
it.
oh God.
It's such a fascinating, like, human study for me.
Yes.
And y'all like love it,
Oh.
and the crowd loves it, and
Oh,
I love
so
you guys
good.
loving it.
me and him both have wrestled at places where it was crickets.
Oh God.
Not to say the
Oh.
matches were bad.
No,
but
that's
with
so
the
bad.
fucking hate
people
that.
that
When
are
there's
there are
silence
just
for
to
5
see
minutes.
their friends.
No
It's-
reaction.
No reaction.
Ugh.
It's like because at that point
At
you're
least
just like,
boo me.
you don't want to do anything.
Just tell me I suck.
Yes.
I suck or I
Yeah.
stink.
I always feel I try.
I know.
I once wrestled at the best facility home in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I had a bunch of old people and nothing when I came out. I'm like, oh yeah, gotta look at the crowd, maybe try something that's gonna.
Yeah.
But give me that cane, old man.
And it's like sometimes even I would have trouble getting the crowd into it. My thing was always Huss, and I would like pretend to pull their spirit into me, you know, their energy, and they would just sit there sometimes looking at me. I'm like,
What is this guy doing?
fuck, I'm really trying, guys. Come on, dude. I don't get it. What is going on? The crowd's just like, what the hell?
And here's the parallel difference between me and him. he blows himself up before he even gets to the ring.
Because I'm ultimate warrior.
Like to the point where he's
Ultimate
just
warrior.
gassed.
Because I'm trying to do it to peak when I start. So it's like,
Now let's say when my entrance comes out, I take 2 steps out that door, I stand there, I look at the crowd, and then I walk right to the ring.
yeah, I was gassed.
And I walk right up to the ring, swing the chain, the crowd is like just insanely popping and stuff like that, and then I'm not blown up.
They love me.
Wow,
They
that
love you, they don't love me.
Sometimes they hate you.
Yeah, good.
They do. Sometimes, you know that. You get mean in there sometimes. But I did too, though, sometimes. Well, I didn't really do a lot of heel stuff.
You did when you first opened, started coming out and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, when I first started coming out, and then I was wrestling the dirty heels, so it was like, I gotta be the baby. I gotta be like Hogan.
you were a baby.
I
I
was a
prefer
baby.
heels.
I was
Heels
a
are my
baby.
jam.
I was a heel when I first started.
I like doing the heel stuff as a babyface, but I wait. My gimmick is I wait for them to break the rules first,
and then you can break the rules. Yeah,
That's my favorite heel.
It's like oh,
It's the good
I'm not
bad
hard to
boy.
poke you in the eyes. I'll bite. I'll claw. I'll do all that
Said
stuff
I'll
that
bite.
get me just almost disqualified. But it's because they were doing it. But yeah, the ref didn't see them do
I
it.
should say that
But
one
me,
time.
I don't
They
care.
were doing it.
They were doing it.
You
first.
did it first.
I can do it too now.
Yeah.
Receipt. I've heard that too many times because I used to get
I
very
know what that
heavy-handed. Very heavy-handed. Huh?
Is it the time?
It's
Am I
close.
drawing? Oh,
Oh,
it
is
is.
it?
Oh, I am
Oh
so
shit!
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
342.
Well, thank you.
No, thank you, sweetheart.
For your
Hopefully,
time.
we answered all your questions.
Thank you, dude.
I probably will have more later. But
No, that's fine. Whenever
Okay.
you want to do another one,
I always have lots of questions.
That's
Can I ask you
beautiful.
outside of the podcast?
Yeah, you
as
can
well.
do it
Okay.
too, yeah.
All right. Thank you very
No,
much.
thank you.